I've been selling SPY puts every single day since mid-November. I just passed 100 contracts. I want to tell you all the things I've learned, show you the P&L on that, and kind of explain if I'm going to continue to do this forward or if it was just a 100 contract trial test thing, because I've been told for years that if you sell puts on the SPY that, or SPX even, that you can make a living with a small portfolio. So I tried it out. And here's what I learned. I will get into the numbers, I promise. The first thing I do want to talk about though is it's definitely more like day trading than it is the wheel strategy. Even though we're not buying, we are selling options, it still feels a lot more like day trading. Like, Brad, you're selling every single day. But when I've sold options, I've always thought, that we don't really need to worry so much about stop losses or greed really, because it's kind of fixed on your profit. So you don't have to worry too much about greed. But what I've learned is that greed can catch up with you. Greed caught up with me, as we'll see in the numbers, after many successful trades in a row. The greed came in the form of upping contracts, going from 1 to 3 to even 4 contracts, and then getting burned. And I also thought it was going to be like the wheel strategy where I could just set it and forget it and not worry about it, maybe check it at the end of the day. I found out that, you kind of got to be able to manage these things, at least check it during lunch. I also learned that the reasons I got away from day trading options and things like theta and setting stop losses and things like that, that holds true here as well. I hate still that I have to manage a stop loss. I can't set like a bracket order like when I'm day trading futures. And that's another reason why I started getting burned earlier. And I really think that if you are going to consider doing this and you've been doing the wheel and you just think it's a progression from like selling weeklies on a particular stock to now selling dailies on one of these ETFs that has daily expirations, you have to go into it with a day trading mentality, day trading psychology, day trading greed and stop loss and all those things. And as I've started to adjust that over the past 2.5 months, things have gotten a lot better. I've also done something I've never really done before when I started doing this project, and that was using margin as the collateral for the puts. And although I'm still doing it, I definitely have a lot more cognizance about how much money I am going to be taking out on margin if I do get assigned. And for that reason, I am not taking assignment like I will on the wheel. I was letting them expire or I was buying to close. And that's another thing that I learned. I got so caught up with like paying commissions to close them every day that I started being like, oh no, it looks good. I don't want to pay 65 cents. I don't want to pay $1 to close this. And then something happens in the last 2 hours and you get wrecked, right? With the wheel, you get your shares, no big deal. You go and sell a call. But with this, where I don't necessarily want to get assigned, and especially as I started to look forward to maybe trying to do this with SPX, which doesn't settle in shares, things can go bad very, very quickly, which is unlike anything I've ever seen when selling options before. So please be prepared for that. Things can get ugly quickly, and it is better to buy to close at a certain percentage of profit and maybe leave some money on the table but be able to survive tomorrow than it is to try and like think things are okay or hope and pray that things are going to reverse by expiration and then you get smoked. And the last thing I've really changed over the last couple months is dabbling with more than just zero DTE. So although I'm trading them every single day, on Monday I started writing for Friday's expiration. Now that gave me more premium, but what I found is on days where it really moved up, which the market frankly has been doing for a while, I was able to buy to close at the end of the day for more premium, net premium, than I would have gotten for selling the daily. Also, if things were right at the money or so, I was able to maybe hold it overnight into one more day. Just gave me just a little bit more flexibility. So really, as we'll see in the last 2 weeks or so, I've been on Monday selling for Friday, and then either holding till Tuesday or on Tuesday selling Friday, Wednesday selling Friday. And that's been awesome for me as well. And the last thing real quick, just because it just came to my head as I look at my spreadsheet here, I have also started buying 100 shares at the open and then selling right at the money essentially and just getting assigned, selling above my basis, knowing that if the market goes down with an ETF like SPY, I would like to think that over time, the market is going to go up. And yeah, I might have to bag hold for a little bit. And yes, we are at all-time highs, but I found that I've never really had to hold more than like 2-3 days. Granted, I'm saying 100%. We haven't had a lot of down, down, down days in a row. It's been kind of up, which definitely makes this easier. As we'll see on the spreadsheet, the couple of bad red days I had is when the market did go against us. So these are all things that I'm learning over time that I don't think you can do in a month or so. And I cannot wait to update again in another 100 days. Before I show you the chart, I will say I am going to continue to do this, but it is going to continue to evolve over time as we're seeing inside the Discord. Okay, so here is the spreadsheet, guys. And as always, this spreadsheet is available to everybody that is inside my Patreon and Discord if you want to get a hold of this, and it will probably evolve over time as well. And then I also have this, and we can see some ugly things on that chart, some big downs, which I will get to, and I will show you that. So once again, this started on 11/21, and just if you want to pause or kind of get an idea, or you skipped ahead and you need to know what's going on, the trade number, this on the side is how many contracts I took. So you can see I started with 1 contract, 2, 3. These are all 1 contract days, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. But then we went and saw that I went 5 to 7, 7 to 9. So I started trading 2 contracts. Then here was my first red day. So I started doing that. And then it started to jump all the way up from 37 into 41. So that was a 4 contract day. And that's the one that's still stinging. And I'll tell you what I learned about that day. But everything else pretty much across the top. Delta open is just something that they ask in the Discord. They always want to know like what delta I'm opening. And the trend right now is that I'm lowering the delta. I always liked for the wheel to use a nice 0.2 delta. That's always been really, really safe. But like I said, this is a little bit more like day trading. So I've been a little bit closer to really 0.15 in the delta as time has gone down. As we go down the spreadsheet, we have the open, we have the close, the net P&L. The total P&L is on the amount that I started. So the amount that was in my portfolio. And I'll show it down at the bottom. I don't want to give away too much, but I think I started with about $87,000. That includes the margin account that I'm getting, which right now, I think my portfolio is at like 92,000, and that's allowing me to write 4 contracts every single day. And then this is the daily P&L on the buy to close. I am definitely not holding to expiration as much as I used to, like I just mentioned. This was a standard down red day. That was okay. I think it ended pretty close to the money. Here's where I made my first mistake. I had all of these green days and I was just crushing it. I was up $915. And if you've ever day traded and been close to a milestone number, I said to myself, man, I want $1,000 so bad. And I opened this in the morning on 12/18, and I knew that this was an FMOC day. And I was like, I said in the chat, I'm like, guys, I'm only going to trade the half day. And I pretty much got into it. I got my 1%. This was open and closed quick. Got 75%. I wrote, bought to close because of FMOC. But then I saw the 915 and I was like, oh man, I could open another one. It's going to be nice. It'll be great. No big deal. I'm going to open it for tomorrow's expiration so that if anything goes bad, I will be good. Guys, it went bad, and it went bad like any FMOC that I've seen in the last year. And this thing just started tumbling quickly. I opened these contracts for $217 total, and that was for 4 contracts, so from 37 to 41. And like I said, I think this was the first or second time I traded 4 contracts, and I had to buy to close for $3,800, and I could not allow them just to be because I was like, I'll just take the shares. But as you could see, because I jumped into that 4th contract, I was so close to my margin that when it dumped like this, I got a margin call and they closed the contracts for me automatically. So it was heart-wrenching, okay? And this was the part where I was like, what am I doing here? Am I doing this just for the YouTube video, or is this something that's really sustainable? But I had to point the finger at me, like I made the mistake, and it made the graph look so bad. I started climbing. Here's a normal red day. I climb, and then smacked. Absolutely smacked. And I thought to myself, this is over. But I talked to some mentors and some people in the space, and they were like, okay, just stay on the grind, start to get a little bit more of a stop loss. And what I decided was I was going to try and stop loss at like a $500 loss, because I don't think that you should really have a stop loss more than 1 week. Like, I don't think it should take you more than 1 week to recover. And I thought at this time I was pretty confident I could make $100 a day if I was doing the right thing. And we'll see really if that's the case or not. I got right back on the green. I started buying to close, some 95, 59, and these were all dailies again. And then I had a couple reds in a row, but they weren't bad reds. You're going to take red days. That's the thing. Like, but we don't want to take $3,600 red days. 200s even, that should be like pretty bad. But taking the $82 loss, I was like, all right. But then I took a 208, and then I took a 1594. Now, what happened with this 1594? Because like I said, the big ones always have a story. This one right here was getting pretty close to the money, and it was like 3:30 in the afternoon, and I was really just protecting myself, and I was still feeling the sting of this $3,600 loss. And I wrote in my notes here, I bought to close, and then it ripped. Like, as soon as I closed for minus 208, it shot way up, and it was way out of the money, and it expired worthless. And the same exact scenario happened the next day, where it was like 3:30 and it was bouncing right there. And I'm like, I am not letting the same thing happen to me today that happened yesterday. Well, it went the other way, and it just dropped quick, and I got smoked for 1594. Moral of the story being, I should have just lost 208 again. Instead, I lost 1594, but I let emotions and what happened to me previously not dictate my focus for today. And ever since that day, I had a talk with myself, and I was like, I'm going to treat every day with the same rules. I put the Post-it on my computer so that I can reevaluate every single day what my rules are and what I want to happen. And guys, since then, I've been chipping away. And I have not had a red day since. Now, granted, I need a little bit of the market to be in my favor, but that was on 1/7, so we are a little over a month. And we've had red days in the last month. So you can have red days in the market and still win here. But as I mentioned, you see how many times it says expired? Those were all the ones that I just let go to expiration. Since that day, you can see buy to close, buy to close, buy to close. I'm buying to close still 77, 76, 90, 53 for a really, really great percentage. And I have finally almost got myself back to even. Here are the calls. So that's just adding another couple $100 a day. My portfolio started at 87,726. I am still in the red, $1.70. I just had my biggest week yet, $1,323. This is the average over the whole challenge. Every single week, I have averaged a minus 14 cents per week. If I continue at this particular rate, I will end the year paying 2 cents per contract that I've opened. I will lose $3.83 on the year, which is good for 0%. I think when we look at the big picture here, and I'm a picture guy, I like to look at things graphically. I got smoked. I chipped away, and then this was another big one over $1,000. And I looked at this and I was like, this looks like a bear run. Like, this is a lower low. Am I going to get a lower high? And I just stick to I knew if I stuck to the process and stuck to the rules that things were going to be okay. And I finally, like I said, got myself to down a minus $1. For me, that's about break even. And I'm glad that I got smoked, and I'm glad I learned these things, but I'm also glad that I saw that if I continue to do the right thing every day, I think this could be a very, very profitable experience over time. Probably not enough to be a millionaire or retire off of, but if I can go back and have any sort of week like I did now, you think $1,000 per week is, $52,000 a year. Even if I could get half of that and make the $500 a week and make an extra $25K a year on a portfolio that started $87,000, I think that's a long and slow process. I don't think it's a get-rich scheme. You guys know I don't like get-rich schemes. I know $87,000 is a lot of money. You also know I'm not a grow your small portfolio kind of guy either. You know I hate spreads, but I do want to show you what I'm actually doing with my own money. Here's what I'm doing, and I think you could try too. Please, guys, get in the comments and let me know if you've been doing this longer than me, or if you've learned something that I missed that I need to know. I really feed off the community just like I do inside the Discord. And I hope maybe one day I can do this with SPX. The premiums are bigger, but I know I need a lot more money. And I know that that's time the road, but I'm willing to work hard and I'm willing to build my portfolio slowly over time so I can do that. All right, guys. Happy New Year. I haven't spoken to you since last year, and I will update this again. You can also leave down in the comments any other videos that maybe I need to redo, update you on, and we can continue to move forward. All right? Take it easy. You guys are the best.